All right, Kansas City, you all been waiting long enough. I finally got her here in person in the den on the ship with the one only Darren Smith. I have Jemele here from ESPN, host of, what do we call it, the Six?
Just call it the Six.
The Six beginning the day after the Super Bowl, February 6th on ESPN.
The Six on the Six at 6 p.m.
I'm trying to take.
Don't make any triple sixes jokes though.
And that's Eastern time too, people.
Yep.
So, well, first of all, thank you. It's been a pleasure. I know we've been shooting text messages back and forth since you came on the show back in the summer. No, it wasn't even the summer.
I don't think it was the summer.
It was in the fall once the basketball season started. We was talking. No, it was right after Draymond Green, so it was in the summer.
Wow. Gee,
Yeah.
It felt more recent, but that's
Draymond Green taking pictures of his junk. Remember?
It was an accident. I'm messing with it. Yes, I think it might have been after that. Yeah, I think it might have been.
First of all, how has your life changed since? I've asked you this before, but now that you're not doing his and hers anymore, you're doing the Six. Why could you all not do both of them, or was it just a balancing act?
How hard y'all want us to work?
No, but you got to remember that people are going to think, well, you're only working 1 hour of the day.
Oh,
I'm saying
they don't
from
understand.
what you see,
I
they don't see the behind-the-scenes process.
So, for people out there not familiar with how the process works, the process starts before you get on air. You know this as somebody who's in this business. So for us, when us doing the show at noon on His and Hers, we normally got to the office at 7:30 in the morning to start putting together that day's show. And, you have to, beyond just the research part of it, it's organizing the show in terms of news judgment, graphic elements, like all those other things. And certainly we have producers that put together some of what you see. But Mike and I had a very heavy influence and input into how His and Hers was executed, because once they put our faces and our likeness on the show,
that's representation
of us, right? If it's something not right on the show, if something misspelled in the topic bar or on a graphic, they don't tweet the producers, they tweet us. So we took painstaking care into the details of His and Hers. And it's the same with the 6 o'clock Sports Center. For us to put together that show, we'll probably, our first production meeting is at 10:30 in the morning. So, it's not just about what we do. What we do from 6 to 7 is just reflective of what we've done from 10:30 in the morning on. So doing 2 shows in one day, not possible. Okay. All right? Not for us.
Now, I didn't want to know, how do you plan on differentiating? Obviously, just by you all's presence, it's going to be different when you do the Six, but like the concept, because generally when people turn to Sports Center, they, tune in to watch highlights and stuff. So how do you all plan on bringing your influence into what you all do during that time period?
Well, I don't know if people have noticed this, but SportsCenter has really evolved. It is no longer, it's certainly there are shows that are more highlight driven than others. Like when you tune in to Stan Verrett and Neil, they're doing something different because of when they're on. They're following a lot of really important games. So they have probably the most highlight driven SportsCenter. SVP does highlights, but it's a lot of conversation. That's his particular SportsCenter. It's his stamp on it. If you look at the other ones, they've been gravitating and evolving into personality-based sports centers for some time. Carrie Champion has Coast to Coast. Again, a more conversation-driven sports center. Face-to-Face with Hannah Storm, interview-driven sports center. Sports Center in the morning, like your morning talk show. Yes, you definitely get highlights. You get updated about what happened overnight. But again, more personality and conversation based. So we are just the continuation of that. And ours will be different because if you watch His and Hers, you saw that, we delved into pop culture, certainly social commentary, like a lot of different things. All of that will continue on the 6 o'clock. We're literally transplanting everything we did on His and Hers and putting it at 6, only it will be done in a grander, bigger way with slicker production. We have more money. I'm not going to lie. We have more money. We have more resources in which the things that people really liked, we can do them in a much bigger fashion.
Now, quick one. Now, I presume ESPN2 and ESPN are all under the same conglomerate, right?
Oh, yes. And then people acted like it was different, when they said, well, we don't, I don't know, like a lot of our viewers, they just didn't know how to feel about us moving to 6 o'clock. They were just like, no, they going to change y'all. I was like, we get, the check still says Disney. Whether we on E2, E! News, EU, doesn't matter. Still says Disney, okay? We're right. Like, we're not on some separate side underground network nobody knows about. It's like, it's ESPN2, all right? But the one thing that is great about this move and why we thought it was a perfect marriage is they came to us. Like, this was never on our goal board. Our contracts were probably about a year and a half from being up. And in our mind, all we were going to do is continue to do his and hers, try to put that show in the best position possible, get some additional resources. That's what our goal was. Our goal was not, we want to be SportsCenter hosts. Not at all. And they came to us and they were like, no, we don't want you to change. We want you to do exactly what you do at noon on E2 every day, but do it at 6.
Man, now we've talked about it before. Those skits. Man, look, that damn boy's in the hood. I mean, you.
Yeah, the facial hair.
Oh God, I'm just looking like it just hurts because you get into the character like nobody's business. You know what I'm saying? You drinking now.
That was a real 40. Before you asked, that was a real 40. Look.
No. I know.
You know. You're like, I know a 40. That was a 40. Yes. It was a real 40.
And Carrie coming
yes. And look, as we told people, y'all don't know Carrie was just being herself.
Exactly.
Okay? She was just being herself. That was it. All right.
And then hold on. And then of course we actually played the spot before we came on, but it takes two.
Oh jeez. I'm sorry, America. We've ruined that show. Ruined that song for all of y'all.
And I hit you on Facebook. You was like, "This is for all the black girls that can't dance." I'm like, first of all, I thought you looked kind of smooth doing, doing your thing.
Man. Like, I defy the stereotype in that respect. Like, I can't dance. I know the rhythm. I got rhythm, but moves, like, I got nothing. I got a 2-step. I'm gonna stay in my 2-step zone. That's all I got. That's all I got.
Look, man, when you come to Kansas City, we gotta take you out 2-stepping so you can let everybody know how it's done.
Right.
Now, look, have you seen yourself grow professionally, when you first started out writing as a journalist to where you are now?
Well, it's really, in many respects, kind of night and day, but not because what I discuss is so much differently. A lot of it has to do with the fact that I'm just so comfortable being myself in any medium, whether it's print, radio, TV. And I tell a lot of young people who want to get into this business that same thing. The way you separate yourself is to get better at being you. That's all you have to do. And so now if Mike and I are on TV and we make a mistake or, we just laugh at each other or laugh at ourselves and we own the moment. We understand that mistakes and strange things happening. If I remember one time we were doing a show when we were Numbers Never Lie and the studio went dark and we thought they did it on purpose, but the lights went out. And so we just started joking like, did you put this in your baby's name? Like, what happened? And so we embrace mistakes as an opportunity to have moments. And once you get to that point, you'll be good at this broadcasting life, or good in media, because people value authenticity in this business.
And speaking about being authentic, people have to understand that you respond back and you clap back on Twitter and social media. And, I tell people, man, look, and sometimes I get notifications, Jemele here, and I'm like, who the hell she done? And and people will try to come at you, and they don't understand that you will clap back hard on them, whether it's political, racial, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So I respect you for that because you've always stayed true to who you are, and I know that you always will continue.
Well, some people, they say like, oh, why do you feed the trolls? I'm not trying to feed the trolls, but people don't set folks straight. Sometimes you do. Like usually when I clap back, that's not the first time somebody says something to me. Typically, it's like the 500th. And at some point, it just gets on your nerves where you're just like, all right, so I see I got to make an example out of somebody. Yep. And so really, for me, the pleasure I derive of it, the absurd and weird and pleasure I derive out of doing that is, making them understand that just because you say something to me and I got these 4 letters behind me, don't think I won't get at you. And frankly, y'all lucky I do have those 4 letters behind me because if I didn't, trust me, I'd be ready. I would be ready. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all lucky I got this. And I'm not trying to lose my job over tweeting, considering I do it for free. Like, there's nothing in my contract that says I have to tweet or be on Facebook or have any social media whatsoever. I do it because I do like engagement, with fans, and I don't think I'm above anybody just because I'm on television. So for me, it's not something I have to do. It's something I choose to do. And so people get it twisted, telling me what I can and can't talk about. Like, you got the wrong one. All right.
Now, I'm going to tell you this now, and I don't normally name names, but yourself, Kurt Menefee, Chris Myers, Mike Pierre. You all have been some of those genuine people that I've talked to this week in general, and I had to call somebody out, but I never thought that Chris Carter would be the ass that people off air would say that he is, and
CC?
Yeah, which is great because I'm a huge fan of him, but now I didn't take it personal. But I guess my boss said we were doing the Facebook Live over when Fox had their media stuff, and I had asked him a question about Julio Jones with his hands of comparison to him, or how would he compare him, and then I asked him a question about the 1998 Vikings, because he's been lately talking about, oh, we'd have thumped you, Shannon, and I'm like, okay, well, if you all would have really played, how do you think it would have turned out? Oh, it's just TV, man. Well, you said it on TV, that's why I'm asking you. So my boss was like, man, you acting like, I was like, man, I'm cool with it, but I'm like, but I was like, come on, man, you don't.
Well, look, all I can tell you is that CC is, he's always been good to me and Mike, and he was a good colleague. In fact, we literally just ran into him before we came in here. Now, I understand it's different when you work with somebody as opposed to somebody in the media who you don't necessarily know, and I guess not to give him a pass, or to just say in fairness.
I gave him a pass because he's Chris Carter. I'm gonna let that ride.
You're at these things, and it's a lot of different media obligations you have to fulfill. And look, I'm certainly not telling anybody to feel sorry for us. We're not digging ditches, and we're not saving babies from burning buildings. All right. So I'm not telling. I'm literally playing the world's smallest violin. I understand this, but I think at some point, probably in the process, people get a little cranky. And I always thought when I was a reporter interviewing athletes, I always never took their time for granted, number one, and B,
exactly.
If they went off on me just because they was sick of being asked the same question, I never took that personally because I understood what it was probably like to be in their position. So, I know. I'm sure.
I thought it was funny. My boss was like, I'm like,
yeah,
cool.
You gotta give CC a pass. Like, no, he's a good dude. Like, I didn't even know him before I got to ESPN, and even when anybody could barely pronounce my name, he was always real cool to me. So.
Yeah, and trust me, I actually think that I know he's on the other network and stuff, but he does a really good job, and I know he and Nick Wright may get a show in the future. I plan on watching it.
Yeah, and Nick is somebody else who I really respect the work that he does. And I got to meet him for the first time because he was with CC. And, those two having a show together, I can see it. I can see that being successful.
It was funny. We got T.O. behind us. Who do you think is gonna make it to the Hall of Fame this weekend?
Well, T.O. should be one of them. Okay.
Well, if he is, he's going to be tweeting about it.
And, we do know. And look, I wouldn't put him in this category, but if you just think about going forward, how difficult it's going to be for wide receivers. The numbers that are getting put up in this era, that's going to be the toughest position. I think the defensive players will stand out given the offensive era that we're in. Quarterbacks, there's kind of a formula for that. We get that, right?
Kurt Warner hadn't gotten in yet.
That's
surprising.
But Kurt Warner, I think for some people, not for me.
His body of work?
His body of work. And again, not for me, but I can understand the debate, all right? I'm trying to refresh my memory about who else is up.
LaDainian Tomlinson,
Yep.
Terrell Davis.
Terrell Davis was another one because, again, that becomes a body of work issue. 7 years. And it's.
But then you look at Gale Sayers. He played 6 years and got in.
It's true. Look, with Hall of Fames, there's always going to be some controversy. The one sometimes I don't understand, and I don't feel like the pro football writers do this at all, is in baseball. Yeah. Like, we all know Ken Griffey is a Hall of Famer. Like, who are the people holding out on Ken Griffey? Like, and why? It's just like, why? Like,
somebody wants to be that person to make sure they don't get 100%.
Yeah, and I don't understand it. It's like they're trying to keep a dumb tradition alive. And the Hall of Fame voters that I know, a lot of people I respect in this business in the NFL, they take painstaking care to get this right. And even though I understand why T.O. was upset, because when you look at the record books, it's three names you constantly see. T.O. at the top. T.O., Randy Moss, Jerry Rice. Mm-hmm. In everything, across every category. So, yes, for me, he was a shoo-in. But there will be some writers who feel like his behavior is a reason to not make him first ballot.
But
I don't think we need to necessarily. I don't know. I guess it just depends. And they're looking at impact on team.
Right.
And I understand to a point, but his numbers were just so ridiculous. Like if I'm in that room, first ballot, he's in, right? But there's a lot like Randy Moss.
He comes up next year.
He comes up next year. I was talking to Jim Trotter about this a couple years ago. I hate to put him on blast, but he said Randy would be a tough first ballot for him because he felt like Randy quit in Oakland. So he's looking at various scenarios. He's looking at his numbers, which speak for themselves. But I do think there are writers that look at, okay, did they have a negative or positive impact on that team? And is it fair to bring that into the argument? It's debatable. It's debatable.
Jerry Jones, you think he gets in?
Yep, I do.
Paul Tagliabue as well?
Yep, I do. Yeah. I mean, Jerry, the thing is about Jerry, look, when you look at what the Cowboys were when he purchased them, right?
Yeah.
And the brand that they've become, it's hard to
stadium.
question. And the stadium, I mean, even leaving that out of it, just the brand of the Cowboys is one of the strongest brands in all of professional sports. And the excitement, the enthusiasm, and as an owner, even though I know it can be irritating at times that an owner with a radio show, like, it's just like, what? It's different. It's different, but, man, that dude's a marketing genius. There's no question. And I think the way that he treats players, the way he embraces them, especially when you had personalities like Michael Irvin, who he loved. Deion, like, that, those are his type of guys. And all that factors in to him becoming the owner that he's become and how dynamic he's made that organization.
Growing up, did you ever see yourself being in this position right here in life?
Never. Could have never imagined. The best I thought I would do is write for Sports Illustrated. That was my dream. Because, back in those days, that was the place sports writers wanted to be. That was the magazine of record when it came to sports.
Sports Illustrated.
Sports Illustrated.
That and then the sporting news.
And then the sporting news, right? Yeah. I mean, I collected I subscribed to Sports Illustrated, and I can't tell you the number of Sports Illustrated I kept because of the commemorative covers and all that kind of thing. But, I never thought that I would be hosting basically the evening news of sports.
Now, I got to ask, why did you all not do the national championship stuff like you all did a couple years ago, where you calling the game or talking about?
The title talk, or as they call it, I forgot what they call it now. Voices, I think.
Yeah, because I think this year they had like
they had Bill Walton, which was great, which is great.
You could tell if he was on something.
Oh man, Bill Walton! I just want him to have a reality show. I just want to watch him all day. That is my dude. But
him and Snoop.
It's Snoop with anybody. I mean, Snoop and Martha Stewart, like, that is genius television. And if you've seen Snoop show on Revolt, there's no show. Like, I would love to do Snoop show more than I would love to do the Tonight Show, straight up. Because the show on Revolt is off the hook. Okay. I was like, I want to know how that pitch meeting went.
What was it like being on the Breakfast Club?
Oh, that was great. That was really, really great. And, Charlamagne, we have been trying to kind of figure out some way for him to be on our show. And it was like we were talking about it, and then the opportunity came up for us to do the opposite. Look, however you feel about him or, his opinions, that show has become a cultural hallmark for sure. And for us, it was a great opportunity to engage with a different kind of audience. I mean, notice the different media things that we're doing. It's not just about doing the traditional stuff, but there's other things that just culturally resonate differently. Breakfast Club is one. We did Hot 97 in the morning. We just did that yesterday. I did.
Did you go Sway?
We did Sway.
Sway in
we
the
did
morning.
Sway in the morning. We did, I did solo Daisies and Merrill. We did Barstool Sports, their podcast. Like, there's a much wider, more vast media. A much more, especially in digital media, a wide media berth. Like, there's just so many different and new things out there that people are resonating. I mean, the fact that, a lot of podcasts are more successful than some TV shows. So, I mean, it's an opportunity for us to reach all different kinds of people.
So what does Jemele here do in her downtime?
I'm really boring, and so one thing I love to do is travel. So like last summer, I went to Australia and Fiji, and that was great. And I love going to different places, discovering different things, cultures, all that kind of stuff. So that's probably my number one favorite thing to do. But when I'm just at home and it's just a regular weekday, probably my guilty pleasure is watching Young and the Restless. Man, I've been watching Young and the Restless for like 15 years. I DVR it every day. Second dream thing, beyond being on Snoop's show, give me a cameo on Young and the Restless. Like, I may never come back.
Now, if I let you get out, because I see people over here. Man, now I know you were in Las Vegas for the NABJ last year. Are you sure?
Or no, that was some years ago. NABGA last year was in, where were we last year? DC.
Okay, yeah.
It
Oh, yeah, it was DC.
It was DC.
Are you sure that wasn't Jocelyn Hernandez in the background? Because I know you responded right away. I don't think it's the MLK.
Oh, yeah. I was. I mean, because,
I know you was there, but I'm saying, but wasn't she there with you?
Oh, no.
You was like, nah, that's my girl.
No, that was not her. But yeah, just in general, I will say DC, it gave me a great opportunity. I've been to DC 3 million times, right? But I never really actually got to see any of the monuments. So I spent an entire day at the King Monument. I went to the Lincoln Memorial. I just did the tourist thing, and I was fortunate because Mike and I went back to the White House to the First Lady and the President's holiday party.
Man, I didn't get a chance to talk to you about that.
That's a story for another day. But while I was there, I got a chance to go to the National African American History Museum, which, let me tell you,
Please.
Black, white, other, right? Doesn't matter. That has got to be a priority trip. It's the most spectacular museum I've ever seen. And I'm not just saying that because Mike and I are in it, okay? Because they have a sports wing that's phenomenal. And Mike and I, they did some interviews with us about, thank you. And when we did those interviews with the Smithsonian, we were so in our bubble, we didn't realize what it was about to become. But this museum is phenomenal. And the amount of detail, the artifacts that are in it, not only things that are from, a historical perspective, but like pop culture. I mean, they have MC Light's bamboo earrings in there. They have Run DMC shell toes in there and their hats, and their gazelles. It's just a really fun place to go.
Jemele,
I'm glad we finally got to do this. I know we've been trying. I'm glad we finally got to do this.
I am too. Look, I wish you nothing but the best up there at ESPN, and our paths will cross again fairly soon.
All right.
I want to thank you for joining me. This is Darren Smith with the one only, the great Jemele, ESPN. Co-host of The Six, beginning February 6th at 6 o'clock p.m. on ESPN.